Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Talk of the Town podcast. I hope everyone's had an amazing weekend. Coming into today, I'll tell you, I woke up this morning and I seen we hit 50 subscribers on the YouTube channel. Unbelievable. I mean, I'm going to hit 50 subscribers like a month from now. That's what I thought. And we're already there into now the third week of the podcast. Unbelievable. You guys have been incredible. Absolutely incredible. The support has been amazing. Today we're gonna have our first 2-video day. I'm gonna have another video coming out later in the day today. So that's gonna become the norm on here. I'm gonna have a couple videos for some days and all. But I figure I'd just mention it today because it's our first time doing it. I'm gonna be talking about Micah Parsons and the Cowboys later, so be ready for that. And if you're interested in that, I'm gonna have a separate video on that. It's gonna be a lot shorter than the normal pod, but you know, it doesn't hurt. And I like making multiple videos. So yeah, thank you guys so much for all the support throughout the first couple weeks of the podcast. My TikTok has been doing great. We're almost at 100 followers. Again, just hit the 50 subscriber milestone on the channel today when I woke up. Just incredible. So, wow. I can't believe it. You guys have been amazing. So let's start off today. We're going to talk about the NFC's over-under win totals. So yeah, let's get into it. So first, we're going to talk about the NFC East. They have the Eagles at 11.5. I'm taking the over. You know, obviously, this just goes for any team. If they stay healthy, they're going to be a lot better. But especially the Eagles, they just, even if they have some guys injured, their depth is just incredible. Yeah, and they really don't have, watch, I'll jinx it now. I hope I don't, but I'm just saying, you know, their guys kind of seem like Iron Men back there. Saquon's kind of had a bit of an injury history throughout his career so far. But yeah, I mean, again, their offensive line, they just seem to just have that as a brick wall every single year. They have one of, if not the best offensive line in the NFL. Jalen Hurts is a really good quarterback. Been on the Super Bowl twice now. He looked really good in the Super Bowl last year. Looked pretty good in the playoffs last year in general, and I just had a good season all throughout last year. While he's not necessarily the best pocket passer in the world, he's not necessarily the best pocket passer in the world, he can pick you apart. And especially he has, again, an amazing offensive line. He can sit behind there for a while. And he throws a good ball. So, and again, he's throwing to Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and even Jahan Dotson, a former first-round pick, who's a good number 3. You know, Dallas Goedert. There's just guys everywhere. The defense is loaded. They might go back-to-back. So, at least make another run in the playoffs. They'll definitely be in the playoffs, barring unless they can just get a spree of injuries to their main players. Which, you know, you never hope for any team. But, yeah, I'm taking the over. I have them finishing around 13-ish wins. They'll be competing for the number 1 seed in the NFC. They're just in a tough division because next is the Commanders. They have them at 9.5. I took the over at first. I've actually been very high on the Commanders, but the whole situation with Terry McLaurin, they don't have a good momentum as of August 4th, 2025 going into the season. Now, could this change? Yes. I'm just going to say, if they re-sign Terry McLaurin, which again, I do think is going to happen. But as of right now, it's not looking good. So I'm just going to assume, you know, he's not going to be on the team. I'm going to take the under on the Commanders. I think they'll finish 9 wins. I think they'll be a 9-8 team. He was a massive part of their comeback wins, their last-second wins last year. Of course, Jaden Daniels was, but you take Terry McLaurin out of that mix, they're not even in a lot of those games, to be honest with you. I mean, he was one of the best receivers in football last year. That counts for a lot. You know, the whole Debo situation, he's seen Debo come in the building, and, you know, he's seen, you know, Debo is a guy who's been getting injured for a lot the last couple of years, kind of out of his prime now. He's still a good player, but he's not on my level. You know, he's not on Terry McLaurin's level right now. He's just not. And I think he's getting paid more than Terry McLaurin is. So they're getting paid around the same. And it's just, he's like, you know what? I see what these other guys are getting paid. I want to get paid. And quite frankly, he should. I talked about that last week, so I'm not going to go too in-depth to it, but, that just is not leaving a good aura around the Commanders right now. I am going to take the under on the Washington Commanders as of August 4th right now. Again, is this a team that can finish with 11 wins? Absolutely. They have a talented roster, but they're also kind of old. They're one of the older rosters in the league with a second-year quarterback, which is kind of interesting. But, yeah, I'm going to take the under right now, barring everything that's going on in Washington. The Cowboys, 8.5, I'm taking the over. I'm actually kind of high on the Cowboys now. Again, that being said, they're kind of in the same situation as the Commanders, but they're younger, have some more kind of high-level players. Like, CeeDee's better than McLaurin and some of their other receivers, but he's going to be on the team. George Pickens is a top-tier wide receiver, too. He might be the best. He's up there with T. Higgins and those guys. Again, I like their tight end, Jake Ferguson. But Dak Prescott's going to play. Dak Prescott's a good quarterback. He just is. He's getting a little older, but he's fine. He's gonna be fine. He's just a gunslinger, and he's throwing to great receivers. Their running back room does leave a little bit to be desired. Their offensive lineman going down in training camp is a little worrisome. Excuse me. But I do like their defense a lot. If their corners can stay healthy, Diggs, Deron Bland, Schottenheimer, and Jerry Jones. Look, I'm counting Jerry Jones out of the Cowboys. Jerry Jones has been in the building, but he hasn't been like a part of the Cowboys because he's just so off earth. I don't even know what the world's going on with him, so I'm like kind of leaving him out of the equation, even though it's kind of hard to. But the Michael Parsons thing, if he plays, it's going to be great. But I like DeMarvion Overshown. He was really good and got injured last year. Like, they have good players on that defense, and their defense is always coached well. So I think they'll be fine anyway. Michael Parsons is a great player, but I think they can be fine without him, to be completely honest with you. Like, that's just my opinion, but I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be around a 9 or 10 win team. They're just always good in the regular season. I mean, they were competitive, talking about a playoff spot with half their roster out last year. So yeah, and they have their best guys coming back. CeeDee's not injured. He was hurt all of last year, pretty much. Again, Schottenheimer, people are really, really putting him down. But we don't know if this guy can coach or not. I get it. I seen a video earlier that these guys were talking about, if Schottenheimer was looking for an offensive coordinator job, who would hire him? And, you never know. I mean, hell, if Dennis Allen and Matt Eberflus get another job, you don't think, other guys can? Those are horrible head coaches. Even though they're good coordinators, but, they were still good. They had a pretty decent offense last year with Cooper Rush. They just didn't have the talent because they were depleted, but yeah. I'm going to take the over on the Cowboys for sure. I think they'll be 9-10, a 10-win team. Then the Giants, they're 5.5. I'm going to take the under. I was debating on maybe taking the over. They have talent. They do have really talented players on that team. I like Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence. They do have a good defense, but I don't know. The offense is weird. Malik Neighbors, I have being a top 10 receiver. I had him ranked top 5. It's going to be really good. But, outside of that, they do have Adrian Thomas. Their quarterback room is just, what in the world? It's kind of reminds me of the Colts a little bit. Like, what is going on? I think Jackson Dart's going to end up playing some. The fans are going to be sharing him in once Russell Wilson's throwing 20 screen passes a game and the offense isn't moving and, it's just boring. Russell Wilson is an extremely boring quarterback to watch because he either launches rainbows down the sideline or he just throws a screen pass or he gets sacked. He is boring as hell to watch. He really is. He really is. And again, I think he's going to play. We'll probably see a little bit of Jameis, which Jameis is either going to throw for 400 yards or throw 4 interceptions and they'll get blown out. Who knows? Jackson Dart, complete question mark. I thought they overdrafted him so bad. and Tommy DeVito. So that's my NFC East. I have the Giants with 5 or 4 wins, to be honest with you. A lot of people are high on the Giants. I'm not at all. I'm really not. Daboll, I think will be gone too. Yeah, I think they just need a fresh start. That's what I think they need. The NFC North, the Lions, 10.5. I have the over on that. People were really over exaggerating about that Hall of Fame preseason game the other day. They were terrible. I mean, I've been seeing dude, they had their third stringers in. They started Kyle Allen, Jared Goff, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Penei Sewell and Jahmyr Gibbs aren't out there. If those guys were in there, it's not 34-7. You just put 2 of the 4 of those guys in there. It's not 34-7. Who cares? Who cares? Why are people over-exaggerating about the Lions not being good this year because of the Hall of Fame game? They're Kyle Allen and I don't even know the receivers who were out there really at all are not going to be on the field in September. Okay? I don't know. People are really over-exaggerating that game. Seen a lot of news articles saying, are the Lions a playoff team this year? After that, I was like, guys, Kyle Allen is on the field. I know you're trying to draw viewers, but like, bro, come on, that's just ridiculous at that point. Yeah, one of the easier overs for me. Even if they finish with 11, I think they're going to be a 12-win team, 13-win team. But yeah, definitely over. The Vikings, 9.5. I have the under again. I see a lot of people with the over on the Vikings. Vikings do have a good team. I like Kevin O'Connell. Seems like a quarterback whisperer, but no one knows about J.J. McCarthy. And everyone, like, they know how J.J. McCarthy is and plays. Like, I watched a lot of Michigan when J.J. McCarthy was there. So, I know J.J. McCarthy. But when you're talking the NFL, when he missed his entire rookie year, and it's a different scheme, I mean, Kevin O'Connell throws the ball a lot. He throws it a lot. Excuse me. And when Justin Jefferson is out there, he's going to want to throw the ball a lot. And I get it. But you should have kept Darnold if you want to throw the ball a lot to me. But again, we'll see. Maybe he could prove us all wrong. I hope he does. I hope he is a good quarterback, you know? But again, sometimes their team, like the Vikings, can play very boneheaded. Like they'll go out there and they'll just look like, God, what are they doing out there? I watched some of their games last year. It's like sometimes they're out there. It's like fireworks out there for the Vikings, man. Everything is rolling. Sometimes they're like, what? It was against Jacksonville last year, and they had Mac Jones on the field, and they barely won that game. I mean, the score was a low scoring game, and it was like, dude, what was that? Like sometimes I guess you can say that with any team. Sometimes they're just not on their A game, but the Vikings more than others, because they have some odd games. The Vikings are either just great and they're in a crazy shootout, or they are just one of the worst teams you watch. So, yeah, I'm going to take the under. I think they'll be good. I think they'll be about an 8 or 9 win team, but we'll see. The Packers, 9.5. I'm going to take the over. Again, a lot of people going the under on the Packers just because, again, the Packers don't have the big stars, the big name players, but you know what they have? A really well-rounded roster. They have guys everywhere on that roster. Names you never heard of are playing great football. They're playing solid, great football because they're well coached. And it's just a well-run organization. Now, you can nitpick any organization. They're not perfect. No organization is. But they've always been well-run. So, yeah. And Jordan Love, again, is going to play healthy this year. You know, they got him a receiver in the first round of the draft this year, which I think was good for them. Again, Xavier McKinney, I like their pass rushers too. Their offensive line's good. Again, Josh Jacobs, they just have really good players. Yeah, I'm going to take it. I think they're going to finish with 11 wins. Be competing for the for the title, for the division title. And then I'm going to take the Bears. They have the 8.5. I'm taking the under. I actually had them on my 5 and Thrive team, which I'm gonna update that again this week because there's some changes in there. The Bears I have as a change for that. again, I don't read too much into training camp, especially I don't read anything in the preseason at all. I don't. I do not read anything in the preseason at all. I think most people don't, but training camp I do a little bit. And Caleb Williams has had a terrible training camp. And this is a guy with a new head coach and a better team. Like, I don't know if you guys see that clip of him the other day. Again, I'm not going to say, oh, he's a bust. The season's already over because he missed the targets on the net. I don't know if you guys seen that. I'm not saying the season's over or anything because that clip at all. But dude, that is a little concerning. Like, and not only is it just one instance, he had to be pulled aside like last week by Ben Johnson because, and Ben Johnson was getting very frustrated. And I think Cole Kmet sent someone to stand too about it. Man, Caleb Williams is just not has not looked good. And this is training camp at all, like in training camp. Of course, you're going to find glimpses of him. That was a good throw, but Caleb Williams, his thing last year is he was inconsistent. He still looks inconsistent. And there's no excuses for him this year. Kind of worrisome going for Chicago right now. I'm going to update my 5 and thrive and 5 and die. And the Bears, we're going to see where they fall on that list because they were my 5 a couple weeks ago. So I'm taking the under on 8.5 on Chicago right now. The NFC South, the Bucks are at a 9.5. I'm taking the over. The Bucks, again, another just well-run organization, especially over the last couple of years. They've drafted well. They have good players. I like their draft coming into this year. Baker's playing like a top 10 quarterback. I have him in the upper echelon of the top 10. I got him like 7. He's the passing touchdowns leader this year. He's a gunslinger, but a good gunslinger. Jameis Winston's a gunslinger, but at the same time, it's like, gosh, there's a gazillion interceptions. Baker Mayfield is good with the football. So, yeah, I'm taking the, what was it again? 9.5, yeah, easily the over on 9.5 for the Bucks. I had them, isn't it like an 11-win team? Again, Todd Bowles, I think, is a good coach. I think they could use maybe a little bit of an upgraded coach. I've been saying that the last couple of years because they have a better roster than what their record projects, but he coaches that team well. The Falcons, 7.5. I'm going to take the over. I do like Michael Penix going into this year. It's a really weird organization. Like, the times they're going through right now is weird. The Kirk Cousins thing is looming over them, which worries me a little bit. I kind of wish they would have traded him and just completely dumped it, just left it. People could have gotten over, the money and all, because you kind of can't really get out of it at this point. We're just stuck. You might as well just offload him and just roll with Penix. Because what if Penix kind of goes out there and it's not playing great? It's a little worrisome. They're going to have people saying, well, where's Kirk Cousins? Put him in. He had like a 500-yard game against Tampa last year. So, you're going to kind of have that looming over you a little bit. You really don't have to hope Penix doesn't have any really bad stretches of games because they're going to be calling for Kirk Cousins. Then, I don't know. And Raheem Morris, I'm not a fan of, but 7.5 feels low for Atlanta to me. They have too good of a roster to be out there 7.5. So I'm going to take the over. I feel comfortable with that. Again, 8 or 9 and 9 and 8-ish, but then the Panthers 6.5. I'm going to take the over. I'm feeling a good year for the Panthers. A lot of positive energy going into Carolina this year, for Carolina, which is something we haven't said in a long time. Yeah, I really like the Panthers going into this year. That said, I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, but 6.5 feels a little low. I mean, that's like New York Giants territory, which they beat the Giants last year, and I like them a little better. I like their quarterback a lot better than any of the Giants quarterbacks. Again, I like Tedoroa McMillan a lot. Adam Thielen, again, it's just solid. Derrick Brown coming back, which is huge. Good offensive line. I like the Panthers. Saints 5.5. I'm taking the under. Saints suck. Saints want the number 1 overall pick. They don't want to win. Tyler Shuck. And you have Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck competing for a quarterback spot right now. Tells you all you need to know, really, and their roster's not great. They're honestly, I think they're the favorites for me to have the number 1 overall pick. Any world where they get over like 4 wins is going to be kind of crazy. So yeah, easily under for the 5.5. Then we're going to move into the last division for the NFC West. This one's kind of odd. There's a lot of good teams, so it's going to be kind of tight. The Rams, 9.5 feels low for Los Angeles. That feels really low. Again, that's one of my easier overs for it. That just feels low for the Rams, especially for the one I'm about to say next. The Rams have just a great roster. They really do. I like them a lot. Again, I think if you just watched them last year, McVay, Stafford, Devontae, Puka, their defense is young and fast, easily over 9.5. 49ers, 10.5 feels large for that team. That feels big for the Niners. I don't know. I'm taking the under on San Francisco. I think they're going to finish 10-7. That's where I had them finishing at. 11-6 is fully in the realm, but I have them finishing 10-7 just due to an aging roster. And yeah, Brock Purdy and the injury concern, an older Christian McCaffrey, kind of hoping he doesn't get hurt for 4 games is kind of a tall ask at this point. I had them finishing 10-7 and maybe sneaking in the playoffs, but yeah, 10-7 feels large for that team. The Seahawks is 8.5. I'm taking the over. I had them finishing 9-8. Like, I feel pretty confident with them finishing 9-8, 10-7-ish. They did last year. They finished positive last year and just didn't make the cut. They have a good team, and I like Sam Darnold. So, yeah, I was kind of an easy over, or maybe not an easy over, but that's going to be kind of tight going into the end of the year. Then the Cardinals 8.5. I'm taking the under. Yeah, I don't know. The Cardinals, Jonathan Gannon. I like their team, but at the same time, I don't love their team. I think they're just very average, like an 8-7 win team. They're just kind of stuck in no man's land. Like, I feel like Arizona needs a big change of some sort, whether it's a quarterback, whether they trade Kyler Murray, something. They need a big signing of some sort because they're just stuck in no man's land to me right now, to be completely honest with you. They just are. So, yeah, that is my NFC over-under totals. So, yeah. Again, I feel pretty confident with that. Some of them, the Commanders, the Bears, are just, and even the Vikings are big toss-ups. Trying to think of any more. Maybe the 49ers, but 10.5 just feels very large. Yeah, I'm trying to think of any more. Not really. The Cowboys, I feel like, is kind of one that maybe people are going to disagree with me on, which I get. But, yeah. So next we're going to talk about Caleb Williams and the Bears a little bit. I'll just touch on a little bit since I talked about it already. Worrisome. It's a little worrisome to me. Again, I explained about him with the net, him throwing to the net, not having a good training camp and already being inconsistent last year. You look at his numbers last year, I think it was a 19 touchdown to 5 interception ratio around that range. You look at it and say he was great. Or maybe not great, but he was good. Let me just say he was good. People say that's not great numbers, but that's good. If you guys want a rookie quarterback to do that, you'd probably be pretty impressed. But you watched a lot of those games at the Seahawks and Bears games. You were never in a lot of those games. And a lot of that was bad head coaching. Like when they went against the Lions last year and that whole timeout debacle with Matt Eberflus, and they fired him right after the game. I think it was on Thanksgiving. Yeah. Like, that's not Caleb Williams' fault. Matt Eberflus is not a good head coach. I think they should have fired him a year or two ago with Justin Fields. But you just have to worry about the inconsistencies of Caleb Williams. Because it's not that the talent isn't there. Because there's no doubt he's one of the more talented quarterbacks in the NFL. Undoubtedly. The arm, you seen him throw at USC, the arm angles, he was Mahomes. People were comparing him to Mahomes last year. They had Super Bowl expectations last year. I heard it come out of some people's mouth. I mean, but you can't hold him to that. He's that talented to be that level of guy. But the inconsistencies are there for Caleb Williams, and it's a little scary. So if you're a Bears fan, I'd be a little worried going into this year, which is something I wouldn't have said 2 weeks ago, because I was very high on him. Now, that being said, can he still have a great year? Yes. and I think he'll have a good year. But as of this moment, the inconsistencies are still there a little bit. It's kind of scary. And then my next topic I have, who will be the Colts quarterback one going into this year? Dude, I don't really think it matters. I think it should probably be Daniel Jones, and it looks like Daniel Jones is winning it at this point. But ownership might just throw Anthony Richardson out there because you just drafted him 4th overall like 2 or 3 years ago. You know, you kind of have to play him. Like, I know you have to play for your best chance to win, but what is Daniel Jones going to win you? You know, you're not out there competing with Anthony Richardson and I don't know. I'm trying to think of another kind of talented young quarterback that had maybe like Sam Darnold. You know, like that's kind of different to me. Or if it was like Baker Mayfield when he was just joining the Bucs, like a guy who's is very talented and is reviving his career and was good before. Like Daniel Jones had that one weird year where they won the playoff game with the Giants, but they kind of fell apart at the end of the year anyway. And again, Daniel Jones at this point, we know what kind of quarterback he is. You're not gonna get a Hall of Famer out of him. You might get an okay quarterback. You're getting a game manager. Anthony Richardson has legitimate potential. He's a great athlete, but I don't know if he's a good quarterback. But I think you have to put him out there. I know you're supposed to put your best chance out there to win. Daniel Jones, you're gonna max out like 6 or 7 wins. You're not gonna make the playoffs anyway. You might as well see what you have with Anthony Richardson. That's just my honest opinion, and I think Colts fans know that. I mean, we know Anthony Richardson isn't very good, but the more you put him out there, the more experience you give him. I mean, what are you going to bench him again like you did last year? I mean, at that point, you might as well just trade him. You might as well just trade him at this point. If you're talking about putting him out there and benching him for Jones and putting him back out there, just trade him away. Just try to see whatever you can get for him. It's looking like Daniel Jones is going to be the number 1 quarterback going into week 1 for the Colts, but I just don't think that's a good decision because you're not going to make the playoffs with Daniel Jones. You're not. You're going to finish with 6 or 7 wins again, and you're going to be in purgatory of picking number 11. I like Tyler Warren, but you need a game-changing player. You do. You need to go draft another quarterback. You have to finish top 5 worst teams. Put Anthony Richardson out there because you may make the playoffs. Maybe. Probably not, but my last topic of the day, I kind of want to talk about a little bit of a fun topic. One of my favorite movies of all time is Happy Gilmore. Probably my favorite movie of all time. And, you know, Happy Gilmore 2 just came out, a week ago? I watched it the day it came out. Me and my girlfriend watched it. You know, I really did like that movie, but people are going to, like, it hasn't really caught any flack, which I think is good. But then you always have the people who are out there saying, oh, you know, it sucked. The movie didn't suck. The movie didn't suck at all. I think the maxi golf was a little corny. Like watching out there, I thought it was kind of corny. Again, I think they kind of just overdid it a little bit. Like I think they could have kind of tuned it back a little bit. Excuse me. I think they could have kind of tuned it back just a tad, to be honest with you. But again, I think the plot of the movie, you know, again, if you haven't watched the movie yet, then I'm kind of spoiling it. So you might just want to click over this or just kind of click off the video. Sorry for that. Spoiler alert. Before I go into the main plot, you know, about trying to get his daughter to go to this dance school in Paris. You know, I like it. You know, he's an old kind of just retired golfer. You know, he had the gold jacket. Oh, I mean, the dude's a legend in golf. So I love the whole plot of the movie. I think Virginia dying at the beginning was pretty crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, that was pretty depressing. I'm sitting there as a drunk and, you know, I had to sell his house and all. I was kind of taken aback. I looked at my girlfriend. I was like, what? Like, what in the world happened? I mean, that's kind of crazy. I don't mind that though. Like, yeah, it's sad. I'm not sitting there saying like I don't mind her dying. I'm just saying like the whole plot of the movie, especially starting off like that, like kind of keeps you intrigued. You know, he took like another round. That's why Adam Sandler's so good at what he does. But I was just like, wow. But it made you watch the whole movie. Um, Again, like I said, I think the maxi golf was a little overdone. I think they could have tuned that down a little bit. But again, I'm just not a fan of like the CGI at all, especially like just the newer updated graphics and knowing what literally isn't on the set, like with all the fake stuff. I hate the way that looks in movies. I hate it. I hate the way, unless it's like some, I don't know, watch like How to Train Your Dragon, and you need the dragon to be CGI or something. Like that's different. But I don't know, stuff like that where they have like all the flames on the golf course and all. Like that looks just corny. I don't know. I don't like the way that stuff looks. I think it was a good movie. I'm glad, Shooter McGavin being the in the mental institution, I thought was pretty cool. And they're coming out, and they were friends, and he made the game winning shot, or one of the to keep them in the game. Shooter McGavin, and they come in and chip the shot in. I really like that. I thought that was pretty cool. And him and Happy became friends. I like that. I like that a lot. Especially the scene of the graveyard. I was like, please don't let them be like mortal enemies. And especially when the guy pulled him out of the mental asylum to go see Maxi Golf, and he just threw the coffee on him. I thought that was pretty good. And then wanted to save regular golf, because I was like, if you wanted to go to promote Maxi Golf to try and tear down Happy Gilmore and in the PGA Tour and all, I would have been like, dude, I don't know, that would have been kind of lame. But again, they took the right directions in the movie. I thought the movie was good. There probably won't be a Happy Gilmore 3. I don't know. They all went to Paris at the end, the sons, the daughter. So maybe there might be a sequel, but they're all old. So old Shooter McGavin looked. I seen him in a Netflix show called The Watcher a couple months ago. And I was just like, man, these guys are getting old. I forget what the actor of Shooter McGavin, the actor's name is, so excuse me, but you know what I'm talking about. He's in a lot of stuff. But yeah, I seen him in a show called The Watcher on Netflix a couple months ago. God, this guy's old. So yeah, there may or may not be a Happy Gilmore 3. I probably doubt it. Again, do they even want one at that point? Who knows? But yeah. So that is it for the podcast today. Again, the long episode. I'm going to talk about Micah Parsons and the Cowboys a little later. I'm going to make a shorter episode, 10-ish minutes or so. So yeah, if you're into that, make sure to tune in later. I have 2 episodes coming out today. And again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the 3rd week of the podcast. Again, 50 subscribers today. Again, if you're liking it and you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It counts. It means a ton. Promoting this channel is just everything to me. This is my dream right here. So you guys even just coming out to watch it, it's just incredible. It means the world to me. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow, and later I will have another episode. So again, everyone have a great Monday.